Hello, this is Don Graves, and welcome to this week's podcast. My guest is noted platform speaker and best-selling author Tom Hegna. As a former senior executive at New York Life, retired lieutenant colonel, and economist, Tom has delivered over 5,000 seminars, helping baby boomers and seniors retire the optimal way. He has condensed a large chunk of his considerable knowledge into 4 best-selling books and has reached over 4 million homes with his public television special. Tom, thanks for being with me today. I wanted to start with one of the lines you say most often, which is how to help people retire the optimal way. How did you land on that phrasing?
I was in a debate last week with the co-founder of the DOL Fiduciary Standard, and in that call I said, what's interesting is nobody knows what's going to be the best. You could ask 100 different financial advisors, no matter where they put you, I promise you in 20 years that will have not been the best. And so because Bitcoin goes to 100,000, we should all put our money in Bitcoin. If oil goes to 10,000 a barrel, we should all put our money in oil. If the stock market goes to 200,000, we should all put our money in the stock market. Nobody knows what's going to be the best. And so what math and science does when they're presented with many variables and what is going to be the best, math and science always looks for the optimal solution. Which will be the best more often than anything else will be the best, and it'll never be the worst. So I can't ever tell people what the best way is to retire, but I can show them the optimal way. And Don, I'd say I spend about maybe 25% of my time now educating advisors, training advisors. But now about 75-80% of my time is in front of their clients. And I'm speaking to the general public in public seminars. And I don't sell any financial products, so I don't have a horse in that game. But I show them mathematically and scientifically why they need to have life insurance, annuities, and long-term care. Why you cannot retire optimally without those products.
Would
and
you
of course,
those, Tom? You said it real fast. Say those 3 again.
Yeah, life insurance, annuities, and long-term care. You just cannot retire optimally without using those products to remove risks. And then, as you know, I also talk about step number 7, use your home equity wisely, which is where, you've kind of made your fame in that reverse mortgage market, being that expert in that, and that can play a key role in helping people retire.
So, Tom, in terms of retirement income planning and the years you've been into that's, for many folk, a fairly new term because it focuses on the decumulation phase. But in terms of retirement income planning, what are you finding that's keeping retirees up at night?
Well, it really deals with the fear of running out of money. They're afraid they'll run out of money. And, that fear is founded because many of them haven't saved enough money. We're in a low interest rate environment. We're basically in a 1% interest rate environment. The stock market is an all-time record high, which, if you know anything about the market, you buy low, you sell high. But people are now getting into the market, which is very dangerous. So they're worried about running out of money. They're also worried about health care and long-term care, and those are separate. Because health care, you say, well, they're fine. They got Medicare. Yeah, but if you've seen what's been happening to Medicare, they're now based on how much money you make. You got to pay way more than what you used to have to pay. And the projections on that, somebody sent me a projection on what my health care costs are going to be between now and the day I die, and it was over $1 million. So that would be of concern, right? And then the long-term care, that 72% of all people are going to need some form of long-term care. So those are really the key concerns: running out of money, the cost of healthcare, and the cost of long-term care.
You said we're living in a 1% interest rate environment, and I can hear some people listening to this saying, oh, no, Hegna, where'd you get that from? How do you come up with that, Tom?
Well, go down to the bank. Ask them, tell them you want to open up an account and you want interest to see what you get. You'll be lucky to get 1%. I mean, what's considered a safe rate, the 10-year Treasury, is just a little over 2%. So, okay, you can say we're in a 2% world. But anything over 2 or 3%, you got to take risk. There's no risk-free investment paying, 3, 4, 5%. That's in the normal investment market. So that's why I say we're in a 1 or 2% interest rate environment.
You work a lot with advisors, and piggybacking on this question, what do you find is keeping advisors up at night, or what are their biggest concerns and challenges?
Well, number one, I think ever since the history of the world, finding new prospects is probably their number one concern. Getting in front of more people, They're always worried where they're going to find their next person that they can help. So prospecting has always been probably the number one concern. But I think they're also worried about, the stock market's an all-time record high. I put a bunch of people in the market and the market crashes, then, I'm going to look like a bum. And then the third thing is if this DOL fiduciary standard goes in, that's going to be lawsuit heaven. Because just as I said, nobody knows what's going to be the best. So no matter where you put your clients, no matter where you put them, that wasn't the best. And there'll be some attorney that will want to sue you because you didn't do its best. Well, nobody knows what's going to be the best. That's why I say it shouldn't be best anything. It should be optimal because I can't tell you what's going to be the best.
One of the questions that wasn't on the list, Tom, but I love when you talk about it, is the 3 phases of retirement: go, no go, and slow go. Can you talk about the 3 phases of retirement and what they mean and how to optimize them?
Yeah, so a lot of people think retirement's going to be 30 or 40 years of golf, tennis, cruises, and line dancing. And I always tell people that's not true. I say you're going to go through 3 distinct phases. The first phase is what I call the go-go years. Now, the go-go years, you're playing golf, you're playing tennis, you're going on cruises, you're line dancing. Every day it's happy hour somewhere. But make no mistake about it, the go-go years are going to be followed by the slow-go years. Now, the slow-go years, you can still do everything in the go-go. You just don't want to anymore. In fact, you don't want to go downtown after 4:30 because Dad can't see when it's dark out. That's the slow-go years. Mm-hmm. And the slow-go years are going to be followed by the no-go years. And the no-go years are those years when you're probably not leaving the building till you're leaving the building, if you know what I'm talking about. So you got go-go, slow-go, no-go. This is what I learned watching my parents go through these phases. I have learned that the go-go years is all about income, not assets, income. And Don, 100% of my purchases are going for income in my go-go years. Now, I define my go-go years as age 60 to 80. Your listeners can pick their own, but watching my parents, age 60 to 80, I am literally loading up with as much income as I can buy. Now, this income goes for the rest of my life. But I'll be honest, I'm not taking inflation protection on all of it. Some of it, but not all of it. You know why? Because I don't necessarily want to have a bunch of income when I'm 117. I want to have a bunch of income between 60 and 80 when I can do something with it. Mm-hmm. The slow-go year is all about long-term care. And what I tell people there is any plan is better than no plan. So if you're not going to buy long-term care insurance, then I recommend you buy a life insurance policy with a long-term care rider. And if you can't qualify for either, then you use one of those annuities that springs up in your 70s and 80s that can give you a bunch of income in your 70s and 80s. And the no-go years is all about life insurance. Now, I've had people say, Tom, life insurance has nothing to do with retirement. No, life insurance has everything to do with retirement. It's the life insurance you bring into retirement that gives you the license to spend your money. See, many people are not enjoying their retirements because they think they got to leave their kids some money. And so they deny themselves a retirement to leave money to their kids. What I tell people, Don, is don't leave your kids any money. I want you to spend your money. I want you to leave them life insurance because you can do that for pennies on the dollar. Let me use me as an example. We have 4 kids. So one day we're sitting around saying, hey, how much should we leave the kids? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Well, I said, look, if we bought a $1 million second to die life insurance policy, when we're both gone, the kids get $1 million tax free. That's $250,000 a piece. Let's start there. So we bought a $1 million second to die life insurance policy. It's all paid up. Do you know what the total cost of that was? $150,000. So now think about this. For 15 cents on the dollar, we transfer $1 million tax free to our kids. Who gets to spend all the rest of the money? We do. I tell people, you spend your money, leave them life insurance because you can do that for pennies on the dollar.
Powerful, Tom. Go, slow go, and no go. Go focused on income. You said 60 to 80. Slow go, you didn't give kind of the Hegna time frame for that.
That's the long-term care. You got to have a plan for long-term care, and I don't know when that's going to kick in. It could kick in your 70s, 80s, 90s, but you got to have a plan for long-term care. And the no-go, that's when they take you out of the building. And Don, as you know, we're all going to get taken out someday. We just don't know what day that is.
We just don't know. Thank you, Tom. I want to talk about something that connected you and I, and I've just appreciated the last few years, but you write about reverse mortgages in your best-selling book, and you talk about it in your PBL special. How did you first become interested in reverse mortgages as a retirement income planning resource?
Yeah, well, We wrote it in the book because using home equity wisely is very important. And there's several ways you can do it. You can sell the home and downsize and move to Arizona. And if you're single, you can capture $250,000 tax-free in capital gains. If you're married, you can capture $500,000 tax-free in capital gains. You can take a loan against the equity, or you can do a reverse mortgage. Now, when I first wrote about it, I was not necessarily in favor of reverse mortgages, but I wasn't against them either. I just was kind of neutral, right? But then when I got to some of your training, when we met at Curtis Cloak's Thrive University, and Curtis is a super smart guy, as you know, on retirement income, and he had you come in there, and I was a little, like I said, I wasn't anti-reverse mortgage, but I was a little skeptical of reverse mortgages. And then when I learned what you know about reverse mortgages and how, when you're 62, you can literally buy a house for half price and be done with it, or that you can take a reverse mortgage line of credit that goes up every year by 5 or 6%, and that could literally be a put option on your house, that if your house crashes in value, like we saw in Arizona, it could literally protect you from that. And so I learned a lot more from you. And then I also read, Dr. Wade Pfau, and you've done a lot of work with the American College. And when, respected sources like the American College and PhDs and then your training really solidified that there's no doubt in my mind many baby boomers will use their home equity.
I appreciate that, Tom. One of the things that a high net worth advisor had called me today, and they said, Don, I was told to talk to you, but I'm not a fan of reverse mortgages. I said, I understand. Thanks for calling me. I said, can I ask you 3 questions, but you've got to be completely honest with me? She said, absolutely. I said, what percentage of your clients who are, and 70% of her clients are in the distribution phase, Tom. And so I said to her, what percentage of those clients would you think have a need for a reverse mortgage? Be honest. And she said, maybe 10%. I said, thank you. That's honest. I said, the second question, if you were to ask those clients if they're 100% certain that they'll have a great retirement, what percentage of them would say, yes, they're 100% certain? And she gave a fairly high number, 50%. That's pretty high when I'm talking to people. I bet it's pretty high with you, that most clients, most retirees have a little bit more uncertainty, but she had a higher net worth client. So I said, okay, 50% uncertainty. Thank you for that. Let me ask you the third and final question. I said, if there was a proven resource that allowed those clients to increase cash flow, reduce their risks, preserve assets, enhance liquidity, or even add retirement dollars back into their savings, what percentage of those clients would want you to tell them about it? And she says, well, 100%. I said, great. So what we have is 10% of your clients think they'll need a reverse mortgage, but 100% want you to tell them what it does. Let's start right there. And that was the bridge I built, and the bridge I continue to bridge. I thank you, Tom, for weekly. You mentioned this, and you mentioned my name, and I'm always so happy about that. Why do you think advisors have been reluctant to explore the reverse mortgage as a viable retirement income planning tool?
Well, I think reverse mortgages and annuities have a lot in common, in that the press loves to hate annuities and they love to hate reverse mortgages. And while there were probably, I know there were bad annuities back in the day, and there were probably some bad reverse mortgages, that is not the way it is today. And I would tell you that's not the way it is with annuities. You've got to have an income annuity in your portfolio to take longevity risk off the table. And I would say if 100% of retirees understood everything they should know about a reverse mortgage, and it wouldn't take that long, I think in less than 15 minutes, you could really give the basics to every retiree. And if they all knew the options that were available to them, I mean, full disclosure that, look, if you get that house for half price, let's say you buy a $400,000 house for $200,000, you pay $200,000 cash, it's done. You don't have to make any more payments. You have to make your tax payment. You have to make your homeowner's insurance, just like if you own the whole $400,000 house, but you only get $200,000 in there. And when you die, that house may not go to your children. It may go to the bank. But look what you can do with that other $200,000. I mean, if just a simple disclosure like that, I'll bet there'd be a lot of people say, man, I could use that money, and my kids don't want my house anyway, and I got life insurance going to my kids. What do they want my house for? They got to go through there and go through my furniture and go sell all this stuff. most kids don't want the house, to be truthful. And they'd rather see their parents live in enhanced retirement. And if then the parents could buy life insurance for the kids, I think it's a win-win-win all the way around.
I think so too, Tom. I really do. You mentioned something earlier. I want to go back before we land the plane. I've heard you speak. I've got all your books, tapes, CDs, DVDs. Everything you own is sitting on my bookshelf. But you talk about annuities, lifetime annuities, and I know that there's some folk who really take exception with that. There's one fella, I won't mention his name, but his commercials on television start out with "This person hates annuities." What do you say to that, Tom? When people say,
well, a couple things. Number one, I say that, Susie has her opinions, Dave has his opinions, Ken has his opinions. They all got their opinions. But Tommy's got the facts, see? And the facts beat opinions 100% of the time. If there's anybody out there who does not believe in annuities, I can give them a simple way to prove me wrong. Here's all you got to do. Put together a portfolio that has both stocks and bonds. That's all it's got to have, stocks and bonds. Take some of the bonds out and put a lifetime income annuity in. Do you know what that'll do to every single one of your portfolios? It'll lower the risk and increase the returns. If you don't believe me, prove me wrong. But here's why you can't. Inside of a portfolio, the way that an income annuity works, it works like a triple A rated bond with a triple C rated yield with zero standard deviation. So now let me rephrase my challenge. You take a portfolio that has both stocks and bonds. You take some of the bonds out. You insert a AAA rated bond with a triple C rated yield with zero standard deviation. What will that do to every single portfolio? It'll lower the risk and increase the returns. That is a fact. And then people say, well, the fees are so high. Not in the income annuity. An income annuity is not even a fee product. It's called a spread product. And so people just need to, just like they have misunderstandings about reverse mortgages, they have misunderstandings about annuities, and that's what we do, Don. You and I, we go out and we correct people and we show them the facts versus the opinions.
Tom, that's fantastic. Where can our listeners learn more about you, and what resources do you suggest they look into first when they find you?
Yeah, so easiest, go to tomhegna.com. It's easy to find. We have a store there where we have all of our products, all my books, my audiobooks, my DVDs, my white papers. We have package deals where they can get package deals. I've got online training and coaching where literally every single day I can coach these people. I put my whole brain online, sorted in short video clips, 3 to 5 minutes on life insurance, annuities, long-term care, Social Security, sales ideas, combination sales ideas. So there's over 10 hours of these video clips sorted. But there's also a coaching side where, let's say they get to the appointment 10 minutes early, they get on their phone, they go to coaching site, a video me pops up. I say, tell me about this appointment. Is your client single or married? They click single. How old is this person? She's 72. Once you click those two buttons, a video me pops up, and I coach them for 5 to 8 minutes. Okay, so you're going on an appointment with a 7-year-old widow. Here's going to be her key concerns. Here's going to be her questions. Here's going to be her objections. Here's the products you're probably going to use. Here's the questions you want to ask her. And so I coach them for 5 to 8 minutes before they go on the appointment. The next day they're going on an appointment with a 45-year-old couple. They hit married 45, and I coach them very differently. So we've got all those products available on my website. They can go to YouTube. There's some free YouTube videos that I would have as well. So I'm pretty easy to find on the internet.
Tom Hegna, I appreciate you being my guest and really appreciate you being my friend. So this is Don Grace with this week's podcast with Tom Hegna. Tom, thanks again. We'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you, Don.
Bye now.